Schrags, is that the team that's just been kind of sitting there that we haven't even thought about? The owner of the team won a Super Bowl with the guy, and boy, we have the money, and a rookie quarterback's best friend could be a guy that could take a top off of a defense. Is that something that we haven't maybe chatted about, Schrags, and are we far off in that world?
I think we're going to find out Mike Evans shortly, and I'm going to tell you this. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers believe they are no longer in it for Mike Evans. So they had made a strong offer, and it seems like Evans' representatives have said, we love you, we love how this has been, but it looks like Mike Evans will be moving on. I don't have the team yet. We should know shortly.
Figure that out.
Uh-oh. Ladies and gentlemen, it has happened. Mike Evans is expected to sign a 3-year deal with the San Francisco 49ers. Just moments after Shrake said, hey, this Evans deal is coming soon. And he believes that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are now out of the conversation for Mike Evans. Adam Schefter says, while you're saying that, Shrags, let me actually tell you what's happening. The Niners now have a first ballot Hall of Famer, a man who has been able to accomplish great things no matter who's playing quarterback, has won a Super Bowl, has experienced the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from the top all the way down at the bottom. Mm-hmm. Now he's heading to San Francisco with a litany of weapons and an offense with Brock Purdy guiding it that can certainly put up ridiculous numbers. Him now going deep down the field for Shanahan and Purdy. Good night. Maybe the Niners make a run at this thing. Let's go into the free agency frenzy zone with the man who put that tweet out. Shefty, what's the deal? How do we get here, pal?
Well, the Niners have needed help at wide receiver. Look, they're moving on from Brandon Ayuk this offseason. Everybody knows that. They have a situation where Deebo Samuel left last year. So really, Ricky Pearsall is their proven wide receiver. They wanted a veteran presence out there. Mike Evans was interested in leaving Tampa for a variety of factors. And at the Combine, the word on the street all along was that he was interested in leaving. Now, he lives in Houston during the offseason. A lot of people thought initially maybe the Texans. But the Niners are the team that was interested in him. And they were talking today. And I think the hang-up, as we alluded to before, was they were coming together on a deal, and then there was a hiccup like, wait, hold on. We thought you could do this, or we thought you could do that. And they had to work through that. Now, it's going to be a 3-year deal. It's really a shorter-term deal than that, but it's going to be called a 3-year deal for cap purposes. And this is an emotional departure for both Mike Evans and the Buccaneers. This was the very first draft pick that the Buccaneers general manager Jason Light made in Tampa. Mike Evans is going to be in their Ring of Fame. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He is an elite wide receiver. For him to leave an organization like that, he just felt like he wanted to try something else, wanted to be in a different offensive system, wanted to see what life was like elsewhere. And so he now will finish his career in San Francisco as a focal part of their offense. The 49ers were in the market for a wide receiver, Mike Evans, to the 49ers on a 3-year deal.
A lot of turnover in Tampa Bay at the offensive coordinator role. Obviously, Baker Mayfield now has been his quarterback for the last couple of years. Tom Brady, Jameis Winston, the list goes on and on. He'll go out there with Kyle Shanahan's offense and Brock Purdy ready to slice and dice. I'm excited to see what Shanahan does with him. I think he's probably pretty excited as well. Let's head over to the free agency fun zone. Schrags thought the deal was coming quick and said maybe a sleeper team. I think we brought up the Niners, but still didn't necessarily expect it. Why did they make this play, Schrags? And what does this mean, Orlovsky?
That was so fun, and that is why we do this thing in real time.
Come on.
I was hearing that the Buccaneers were out. Well, why were they out? Because seconds later, we find out that the 49ers had closed the deal. I can't stress it enough, and Adam's done it, and I know at home you're rolling your eyes. The sentimental connection between Mike Evans and that franchise is so strong, stronger than what Brady had with them, stronger than what Gronk had. This is a guy who's been there all these years, ups and downs, and is now finally leaving. And it was like, if you love someone, you let them go. And at some point, the Buccaneers said, you know what? If we're going to make an end, okay, go on and explore other options. Derek Gilmore is the agent. He's been with them all along. They worked the deal out, and there were many other interested parties. But 3 years they get on Mike Evans, and he goes to the 49ers, who, yes, were eliminated from the playoffs in a divisional round, but were so injured last year down the stretch. He believes he can still win and still make that top dollar money with the 49ers. I like the fit, but of course it's free agency frenzy on a Monday. I like all the fits.
I love the fit for San Francisco. I love the fit for San Francisco. San Francisco, McCaffrey, and as great as CMC is, He led them in basically every offensive category this year, or this past season. Too much of a burden on that football player. So now Mike comes there, Pearsall there. They're probably going to lose Juwan Jennings, who's their dog at wide receiver, do-it-all type of guy. So now Mike is back. Last year's the first year that Mike didn't have 1,000 yards receiving, and I think 11 seasons. And that's because of injury. It wasn't because he can't play anymore. And so I love the fit in that regard. For Tampa's perspective, it's their own fault in a good way. It's because all they do is draft good players. They've drafted McMillan. They've drafted Egbuka. They drafted Tez Johnson. And so they've got these other young players that are really talented that make it, I don't want to say easier, but you can justify not overspending for Mike in this situation because you've got people in the waiting. And so, dude, I knew teams that wanted to get in on Mike Evans. I know the Bills wanted in Mike Evans. I know the Rams wanted in on Mike Evans. I know that the 49ers wanted in Mike Evans. So I think it's an outstanding signing. And think of Mike Evans down in the red zone with Kyle Shanahan, who's one of the great red zone game plan design guys in the history of the league.
Shregs, what's that number going to look like quickly?
I would think it'll be north of 25 a year. I mean, that's the numbers that he's demanding, and that's a guy that
good for him.
With this salary cap the way it is, that is something that he can guarantee. I mean, hey, look, they're going to be obviously moving on from Ayuk. They left. The Debo's gone from last year, and Juwan Jennings is a free agent. So there is room to spend. And you say Ricky Pearsall at one wide receiver. You throw this guy on as a second.
Kittle comes back.
Caleb comes, and obviously you get Kittle back. You get Juszczyk back. You suddenly put this thing together, and it's like, all right, 49ers in a wide open NFC. We talk about the Rams and the Seahawks. All right, how about Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers still planting their flag and saying, we're not going anywhere yet?
And especially with Mike Evans, D-But, what does it look like in a Shanahan offense with Mike Evans? How do you think he is used? Because, we got a lot of hey, we need you to do exact stuff. Or is Evans there to go ahead and take one of the safeties out of the box so everything else can open up? How does he directly affect everything else going on whenever you're trying to game plan this Niners team?
Yeah, when you talk to defensive coaches or defensive players, they'll tell you Kyle Shanahan probably puts the most problems in front of him as far as game planning and calling plays. But at some point, it comes down to the players and the mismatches. And Mike Evans, we all talked about an all-time great, over 13,000 yards, over 100 touchdowns. He's going to be a mismatch as long as he's lacing them up, especially when you get down in that red area. He's not going to be separating from guys like he used to. He can still run, and you throw that ball up, and it's a rebound. So you have different guys on that offense that can create mismatches, whether it's the fullback with Juice, whether it's Kittle when he's healthy. C-Mac, he's a mismatch for anyone that's guarding him. So now whoever they draft or whoever they bring in on part of that wide receiver core, they can sit in a room and learn from Mike Evans week in and week out because you don't have just these guys, falling out of the sky.
Can he still play?
I think he can still go because the type of guy that he is, the body that he has, like I said, he's not a guy who's going to be taking the top off of defense like he did 5 or 6 years ago, but even when he's covered, he's not.
I love what's happening. Linderbaum goes.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Evans goes.
What?
We're trying to update the amount of money that has been spent so far in these 14 and a half hours of free agency frenzy. Mm-hmm. It's over $1.4 billion in contracts. What a day for the boys. The numbers are out now. Shefty has reported Mike Evans goes for a 3-year, $60.4 million.
Okay, that's not bad.
Jeez. 1.125-133 million per year.
Details come out, though.
Yeah, because that's going to be front loaded. We
Yeah.
assume this will be a salary cap gymnastics, 3 years if we had to guess. He said north of 25 is what he was hearing, so we could assume probably 50 million over the first 2 years here, 10 million for the third year potentially, however they decide to kind of structure it out. John Lynch is a madman. Obviously, he's able to accomplish these things. What a weapon for them. I love that move, Con, man.